My name is Rayan. I am in the fitness industry, and I have been for quite some time, dating back to kindergarten. I was always kind of an active kid, and always involved in sports and athletics. And then when I went to college in Canada, that's when I really took the sports and specifically basketball to a more higher level. And I was always obsessed with how to maximize human performance. That's, I think, what kind of led me into the field that I am in right now. So right now, that's what I do. I help people achieve their highest potential and their highest performing selves, where we help people achieve their goals and achieve their wellness targets. Okay, 3 4 words. That's gonna be tricky. I'll try to describe it in the most comparable way. So I would say attention to detail. A people's person. I always see both sides of the story, and I really like relating with people, and and social, I would say. Made me nervous now. Let's see. Al-hub, love. Funnily enough, my business is always like my baby, right? That's something that I'm really passionate about, right? So it's always that and family. These are two things that I'm really passionate about, and I feel I get love back from, because I'm giving out love, and I get back love from my family, and same thing with my business, because I'm putting so much into my business, and I feel like it's giving back to me. A lot of people think of or believe in soulmates, and I have a different opinion on that. I think it's very challenging to believe that within the 7 billion people that there's one soulmate, and that soulmate happens to be close to you, right? I think when we really connect with someone and we have similarities and we fall for that person or start to create a deep connection, a deep relationship to that person, I think that's when we believe, or we want to believe, that there's something deeper in there. There's something more, divine in there. That's my soulmate. So I think that's a title that we kind of put onto people. But do we have soulmates? I believe we have many soulmates. That can be potential soulmates, right? That can be all over the world. I mean, I can go live in Venezuela and find my soulmate over there, right? We connect with people who have similarities, but I think two exactly similar people also might have differences in the future. I think every person should be real and true to who they are. There's always compromise, right? A relationship, there's always a compromise, and it's always mutual. But when it starts to become unauthentic or not real, that's sad. When a person loses their true identity, and over time that can cause not just relationship issues, but issues within that specific person. Unconditional. I think sometimes people really sugarcoat things, I always like to be real. If something bothers me, I'm gonna tell you, if something bothers you, I want you to tell me, that to me is, I think, true, authentic love, right? And that's what we all need. We don't need somebody to sugarcoat everything. We don't need somebody to just show us, the positive sides of love. I think love is a very broad term, and it's not just all, roses and flowers. I think it's true. It's real. It's understanding. It's support. Being real. Listening to things that sometimes we don't want to listen to. And that authenticity and that realness. That's what love is to me. Just being completely real. Yes, absolutely. I think it's one of the things that we need as humans, right? We crave, right? We crave love. Love is kind of a broader term, and there's a lot of underlying elements to that. And there's many elements here where people miss, or people just really, really don't focus on. So we need love to survive. We need love to grow. We need love to build, to develop. Starting from when we're first born, right? We get love from our parents. As soon as we come into this world. So over time, we need to have these human connections that give us love. moments of truth. Social media. I think it can be looked at as both. I think it comes down to how you use social media and what you're using it for. Sometimes too much information out there, right? And social media is readily accessible by anyone. The way I use social media is I use it to learn, to connect with people, to network. And that's helped me tremendously. I think it comes down to how much control you have over yourself of what you're consuming. It's very easy to create your own avatar on social media, right? So maybe, you know, that intense focus on social media that we're especially seeing like with the newer generations is taking away from this human relation connection. We're seeing a rise of people who aren't able to have certain social skills or are lacking some sort of connectivity towards other humans. I've seen it and I'm around it all the time, where social media is taking over people's lives. I've seen decreases in human connection. I get really frustrated when I'm in a social setting and, you know, I'm speaking to somebody and they're like, yeah, but you know, and then they're checking or they're scrolling down. You know, like, stop scrolling. You know, if you want to scroll, stay at home. You know, and don't come and network with me. Don't come and socialize with me. Or let me just take this phone call. And it's like unnecessary. You know, so that frustrates me. I know how to disconnect. You know, sometimes I'm off social media for 2, 3, 4, 5 days. People are like, "Dan, are you okay? Are you okay? You know, why are you on social media 24/7? You know?" So that's really important. It's very easy through social media to create something that's not real, not authentic. So I think that's where the tricky part comes in. How to have control over certain things, right? It's an addiction. That's what it is. You know, it's just like any other addiction. And I don't think people can deny that it's an addiction. We're rolling. I hope we talk about fear. I like talking about fear. Really? Let's talk about fear. Trauma.
See? You just attracted it.
Mm-hmm.
You literally
Manifestation. Manifestation. If you really look at fear, what is fear? 100% of the time, it's always predictions of what may happen in the future. 99.9% of the time, your fears never materialize. It's never reality. Fear is a concept that we have learned through our past conditioning that we tell ourselves. That's when we start to build trauma along the years, and then that's what can have, you know, detrimental effects to our mental well-being in the future. So fear is a concept that we created, and if you really dissect it, that's insanity. So why are we positioning ourselves in the future when that does not exist? Being in that constant cycle of fear and creating that narrative and telling ourselves something that isn't real.
How do you face your fears?
I go ahead and do it. Growing up, I used to travel all the time. I used to be on planes all the time. Suddenly, I don't know what happened. I think I was like 18, 19. I started getting this extreme phobia of flying. Extreme. There was a period of 3 years where I didn't get on a plane. And I was extremely scared of planes. And I really couldn't understand why, right? And when I really sat down and dissected it, it wasn't actually the fear of flying. It was just my thoughts of what may happen in the future. The lack of control. And the way that I healed myself, I got on a plane. Go ahead and do it. I promise you, our minds are incredible machines. Trauma is not physical. You know, I think there's a very big misconception. There's physical trauma, and then there's more psychological or mental trauma. And that, I think, is where the majority of trauma lies. And that was something that really opened my eyes, you know, a long time ago. I started sitting down and realizing, wow, you know, I have trauma, the person next to me has trauma, everyone has trauma, right? Trauma is not something negative. It's not something that's, you know, implied on us on purpose. That sticks with us, right? And when we're kids, that's when our brains are most plastic, right? That's when we're picking things up. And if we're developing with traumatic experiences that we're unaware of, and we never do the work to heal from that and understand that, that's when it's going to start affecting us in the future. And it's not, again, it's not just parents. No, absolutely. There's a big misconception. Okay, I have trauma from my parents. No, absolutely not. This is not something that happens in a day. You know, this takes years, right? So don't move on to the next trauma response or next traumatic experience until you really figured out what's happening here. There's a lot of things that we can do to help ourselves.